That was all right. Hey guys, welcome to the Stolen Droids podcast. I'm Zach.
I'm Marley.
And we are so excited to have our friends Stephan, Malinda, and Jay. Round of applause for them. Clap for yourself, guys. Clap.
Yay!
You deserve it. You deserve it. No, we are so excited about today's show. We are very excited about today's topic. Let me introduce our guest panelists today. Starting off with Malinda Money. She is an LA-based actor, an incredibly talented cosplayer, and just a queen, man. Seriously. She is, out of everyone I know, the most likely person to rule Wakanda, truthfully and fairly. I think so. Yeah. No, Malinda's not that good, for sure. Stephan is a voice actor and an actor. You can also catch him on his Cracked Brain podcast. Extremely talented, and gosh dang it, one of the sexiest voices I've ever heard. Give him a taste, just a little one.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. I'm Stephan. I see you, Jay.
This is a family show, sir. This is a Wendy's.
No, man. My grandma watches this. She's gonna love that. I don't love that. She's gonna love that. She is going to love that. Real problem. And then we've got Jay Whittaker, aka the Lucky Dreamer, here with us. Stand-up comic, actor, host on the Geek Show podcast, but most recently an aviary genius with his Full Feather Friday.
Aviary genius. That's the first I've ever been described. No, but I'll take it. I'm not an ornithologist. I'm not a bird expert. Just a guy who kind of Googles some things and then just gives you some stuff. So, cool, thank you. I've
been calling you an aviary genius for years. From the first time I saw you cosplayed as Falcon, I'm like, that guy gets it,
dude.
Those wings are still rusting in a garage. They're rusting somewhere in a garage. PVC pipe and a lot of metal.
That's got to be a metaphor for something.
What?
Letting your wings just rust in the garage. You can't do that, man.
Oh, America? Okay, yeah, I'll roll with it. I mean, like,
yeah. America's kind of got some rusty wings right now. It's been a very, I don't want to say roller coaster because it seems like it's just a roller coaster that keeps going down. And that's not a good ride. But it's also, it's been bringing attention to a lot of people. So obviously none of us are strangers to what's happening in the country right now with Black Lives Matter, with police brutality, with, our friends and family, our brothers and sisters being victimized and beaten and hurt and killed in some cases just because of how they look. And we see that toxicity a lot in our fandoms, in our geek communities. And so we have these three wonderful people on here today to talk about that, to address it. This is going to be real talk. This is probably I hope it is a hard talk. That's the only way that we learn is when we shoot straight, right?
Yeah, we have those uncomfortable conversations and then we grow from it, and then we go to a therapist. It's great.
That's right. I think all of us are big proponents of therapy. Definitely, if you need to do that, go do that. So before we get started, getting into the real stuff, since we are a geek community, I wanted to know, you guys, what are some of your fandoms? What are some of the things that you guys love to geek out about? We'll start with Malinda because oh my gosh, I can never figure out where to point because it's switched. So I'm like, you go. She's not there. You
go. Okay, so I'm like a huge Disney geek. I love Star Wars, Star Trek, huge Avatar: The Last Airbender, and its spin-off, The Legend of Korra. So much. I'm really into like anime as well as like graphic novels and manga and manhwa and comic books. Like that's really where I got my start. And I'm a gamer and I'm a cosplayer. So I cosplay all the things that I also love.
Oh my gosh, you've got such an incredible Korra cosplay.
Thank you.
It's so good.
I need to see this.
So Netflix needs to do their live action adaptation of The Last Airbender. That'll be 3 seasons. And then I'm hoping they'll pick up Korra.
And then it'll be
no, Melinda's top of the bill for that one. It's so freaking good. It's so good.
I'm really, really proud of that cosplay. That is my that is like my like opus magnum, I guess, because I did that entire cosplay. I hand stitched the entire cosplay.
Oh wow.
Wow. I didn't have access to a sewing machine at the time, and I was like, it's fine. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to do it. And I was also working with a lot of different materials that I knew weren't going to work with a sewing machine anyway. So I just hand stitched the whole thing.
You did it you did it the old school way.
Yeah,
Valantis, speaking Valerian, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's so good. She even taught herself how to waterbend. It's very impressive.
Yes.
That is way
Very
cool.
Disruptive.
I don't have any water near me to like give you a demonstration, so next time.
I would love that. You just bust out water bending right now on the podcast. That would be so great. Oh man. All right, Stephan.
Awesome.
Tell us about your fandoms, my friend.
Yeah, so my fandoms, I started out basically almost like any other kid, over inside the 90s, where it started out with just, Saturday morning cartoons, so you've got X-Men, and that led me into comic books. Both of my parents are avid Star Trek nerds. So before I was ever educated in Star Wars, I've got embarrassing photos as me dressed as it was a Klingon over at a Riverside Trek con. I think I was like 3 years old.
Be your LinkedIn photo.
This guy means business.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, I mean, started from there, and then like my parents were the ones that got me into anime, and I am when I say like I love anime, like how some people wake up and they need like a cup of coffee, I at least need like 2 or 3 different episodes of some anime. It's a thing with me, so those are my main ones. And then a little bit of cosplay, as I said before, and comic books as well. So those are my mains.
So you're the kind of guy when they work out, your playlist is all anime theme songs, right?
It's not a joke, all right.
Dude,
my
Attack on Titan.
I love that.
Like
That
back on,
man.
chicken, gacked, flow. Like when people say like, "Oh, I want to know some Japanese band," I'm like, "Okay, you got to let me know like what kind of English band you kind of like, and then I'll tell you what Japanese band."
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, so do you ever watch Promised Neverland?
Sure. Yes. Oh yes.
So good. Dude, that theme song, that's like when I need sprints. That song gets me.
If you like that, there's a song by Back On. It's called Chain. It was in the old anime Air Gear. It is perfect because it
Air Gear.
Yep.
Wow.
There you go. There you go.
Dude, I haven't heard that song.
So,
That
yeah.
anime forever. Oh yeah.
That's what it is. And then like for most people, like if you ever need like an anime song like translated, like, is this all right? I do still speak a little bit of Japanese, so like like the waters run deep.
Very cool, man. That is awesome. I love that.
I
And
think anybody who's into anime has at one point considered learning Japanese just so we don't have to read the subtitles any longer.
I love the subtitles though.
Hey, the subtitles are great, but also it's like I'll just like eliminate one thing and just learn Japanese so I can watch anime.
it's like reading and watching at the same time. You're feeding your brain 2 different ways.
You are.
I like that.
Absolutely.
I used to do that with I used to watch Netflix on I used to watch Narcos on Netflix, and I know it's not anime, but
It's pretty much an anime.
Stop it. It's an anime about heroin. Yeah, like that's exactly what it is. It's an anime with coke. But like, I was like sitting there. I'm like, man, this is intense. My geekdoms, my fandoms, I would have to say, definitely. I'm with Stephan. Like a lot of Saturday morning cartoons. You're talking about a guy who watched Transformers, like the '80 version. You know, a lot of GI Joe, even the GoBots, even the Centurions. Whew, like I mean, Centurions like is Mighty Max, Pirates of the Dark.
God,
Mighty
Mighty
Max.
Max.
I mean, like embarrassing stuff. Like I'm just like, oh, I can't believe like Conan the Adventurer. You know, they could, he could be the barbarian because it's too brolic and aggressive.
Right.
So they had to say he was an adventurer. Went on quests. Voltron. That was like my jam. And then it really became about X-Men 92, the animated series. Yo, like I thought I was real talk, like third grade, I was always trying to pretend like I was Gambit, and I would show up to like with a deck of playing cards, and I would always call everybody Mon Ami.
Yeah.
Yo, I thought I was so cool. And then,
Jay, you are so cool, man.
Stop it. No, like you haven't let me finish on the other geekdom. I have a stupid Cobra Commander tattoo in 2 places on my body, which shall not be named. And then I also have a couple
Name them,
tattoos.
Jay.
No,
Name
I can't.
them.
I really can't. This is a family show. People are eating their breakfast right now. People are eating their breakfast. They're eating their multi-grain Cheerios right now. We can't do that.
Dude, those multigrains are good and good for you.
But yeah, Star Wars, Marvel Cinematic Universe, anything animated DC, I'm all about it. Live action, not so much, but anime, I was late to the party on. Like I came in late to the party on anime. First anime I ever saw was like Fist of the North Star, and then
Nice.
Yeah, which was like hyper violent. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm eight.
dude.
I'm 8.
I'm 8.
Yeah. And then second was Dragon Ball Z, of course.
Right.
And I never really got in the anime. I still like it, but I laugh too much during anime because they always do like the heavy breathing, like another.
Oh, it's so good.
and they stare off into space, and the stars start twinkling. They're like, why? I'm like, is this like a moment of growth or something? I don't know. So
there's a very specific niche market out there that listens to podcasts that is only anime mouth sounds.
Yeah, I want that AMSR or ASMR.
Yeah. For
a lot of
hours.
Street Fighter 2 in my house. Yep.
Damn it, Jay.
All right, we're supposed to be talking about serious stuff now.
What were we talking about? All I'm thinking about is anime mouth sounds now.
Oh my gosh.
Goodness.
Not good.
It's not good at all.
Stephan, you're pretty deep into anime. If you were to suggest something for Jay to pick up, what do you think?
I already know that you're watching, or that you at least have watched a little bit of My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a new anime actually coming out this next week over on Crunchyroll. It's called God of the High School. And that one I've already spoken with a few people on the Japanese voice cast, but it's basically like it's hyper violent. But
is there heavy breathing? Oh, if it's hyper violent,
they've
got
it. Heavy breathing.
Yeah, because it's like that's a lot of cardio if it's violent.
The heaviest
they're gonna be out of breath. So
I'm
in.
You know when an anime is about to get good with heavy breathing when you hear Chikusho. Yeah.
No. I don't know what you just said, but it sounded passionate.
See, there you go. But yeah, that's one where I'm like, you'll be able to hit the ground running with that one, and it's real good. It's going to be a good fighting anime. So I'm in touch with that one. Yeah.
God of the high school.
Yeah, God of High School.
God of high school. That is a perfect one for Jay, because when I first met him, that's how he introduced himself to me.
No. I mean, I did
How you doing, man?
peak in high school. I did peak in high school.
Whatever, man.
That's
No,
your name in high school.
I seen videos of you doing push-ups.
That's regular stuff. That's just a people just do push-ups every day.
It's true. No,
Yeah.
no matter who you are, you can do push-ups. Black or white, gay or straight, everybody can do push-ups. And I think that's the message here, right?
Heavy breathing all the time. All right, let's
Yeah.
just
Anyone can do anime mouth sounds. It doesn't matter.
Okay, I beg to differ. As the voice actor over here, efforts are damn hard.
Fair enough. I love that. I love that you guys have these fandoms and have these things that you love and you're passionate about. And I think anybody listening can't relate it to at least one thing that we said, right? Whether it was the Saturday morning cartoons, whether it was Avatar, whether it was anime mouth sounds, like somebody was like, yes, that's what got me.
right.
So why is it that we have this thing in common, this thing that we love? Why do you think the community is so toxic, especially when it comes to like lines of race?
Well, because it's when we find this is just from my experience on Geek Show. I don't speak for everybody on Geek Show, but from what I noticed, it's just like we preach on Geek Show, like it's not yours, it's for the community. Like, and so people, they love these stories, they love these wonderful stories that people come up with, and they hold on to them and they gatekeep because they've been, stereotypically, I'm not saying we all have been, but geeks have been gatekeeped for a lot of their life. So it's just like it's almost like the language of the oppressor at this point, where we're just like, no, this is mine, so you don't ruin it. I have the best memories of this. I watched, I went and saw Transformers 2 after my divorce by myself, in the theater. Yes, it was terrible and I hated it, but I loved it because it was mine. Don't you ruin it, Michael Bay, even though you ruined it. Sorry. But
we need to talk about some other stuff real quick before we.
I was married to Michael.
I mean,
Bay. All right.
I knew it.
But you get the point I'm trying to make is just like that we hold these stories dear to our hearts, and so sometimes when what do you mean Ariel is black? What? How? What? There's gonna be a black mermaid? What? How does sunlight? How does she get a tan in the water? I don't even know. Like what? Why is this? People were really mad about it. Michael B. Jordan might be Superman. What? Idris Elba might be James Bond. Like why? These things, you can't do that. That's like that goes against the. Stop it.
Yeah.
It's that.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think to continue on the point that Jay's making, I think really what it comes down to is that change for everyone is really difficult. It's not change, regardless of if it's good or bad, can be really uncomfortable. And I think that's just because we don't know what the ultimate outcome is going to be. And with much of the geek community, it has been stereotypically, white cis males who are into these things that are geeky. And this is a community where being a geek, you kind of find a safe haven to enjoy the things that typical society deems as weird. And so when you are in a society that your whole life people are saying, well, it's weird that you like this, and this is your one safe space, it's hard to see change come in where other people are saying, but I want to be part of the safe space too. And it's not that it's a new concept for women or people of color to be into these things. It's just that we haven't been invited to the table yet. Instead of being invited to the table, we've basically just had to create our own table and go, we've always been here. We've always been interested in these exact same things. And if you don't want to invite us to the table, that's totally cool. But don't get mad at us for creating our own table.
Right.
And we're not stopping you from joining us at our table either.
Seriously.
So I think that's kind of where it is. It's like change is hard, and it's weird when your idea of the status quo is suddenly interrupted. There's a change to it.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I definitely wanted to go and kind of point out, where like as far as my own personal, kind of take on is, there's also the aspect where it's like the like the source, the socio-normative, as far as like what you're expected to like and dislike, and and things like that, where from like Jay kind of understands, where I'm, well, I guess Jay and Malinda will both kind of understand this one out, where like I'm from Huntington Beach, California.
Hey, OC.
Yeah. So, when you think of anywhere that a black kid might grow up, it's usually not Huntington Beach.
Sure.
Right.
Mission Viejo, California. Yeah.
Yeah. See, there you go. So like growing up, it was all about like, oh, well, what kind of hip hop album are you going to be into? And I'm like, I don't, like I'm not into that, and then when it came to like liking anime and whatnot, everyone always had the first assumption of like, well, no, he's not going to like that. And I'm like, I absolutely love it. All those things. So it's even that across the board, so when you get into this sort of, like, oh, well, you have your fandom and you're passionate about it. And then other people look at you. It's kind of coming from all directions, as far as like, oh, well, they're like, oh, well, it's ours. And then conversely, what you would consider like the home team is like, well, how come you're not into all the same stuff we're into? And it's like, because I'm not, I'm my own person. So, yeah.
I like that you guys all kind of touched on how your fandom, your geekdom is your safe place, right? Like this is a place that you're supposed to feel safe. You're supposed to feel like I can celebrate this stuff because I love it and I want to celebrate it with other like-minded geeks like me. And then it seems like for some reason, like you said, Malinda, they're separate tables, right? Which I was pretty sure we weren't supposed to segregate like that anymore. I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere.
We're not supposed to do that anymore.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. I'm writing that down. So why is specifically geeks who look like me? Why are we doing that?
If I can kind of go in and whatnot, it, like I said, it touches heavily on what Malinda was saying, where there's always the thought as far as this is my thing, So when you think of someone like Superman, when everyone thinks Superman, they think Clark Kent, and it's always tall, strong chin, white male that is inspiring. And it's something where that's what we all gravitate towards seeing, but that doesn't mean I can't envision myself being Superman.
Right.
Like for myself personally, I stopped cosplaying. Like I cosplayed from like 2 years old till about I was 16, and I stopped because I went to a very small San Diego Comic-Con at the time, and I was dressed as Superman, technically more Superboy, but still Superman in that instance, and everything was cool until about 5 minutes into walking the main floor. I had a guy that was just like, Superman's not black, Superman's not black, Superman's not black, and he like followed me around the entire floor just saying that. And it's like, why can't I love the same thing that you love? And
he followed you around the entire floor.
Yeah, it was a thing, and it.
I wish I could say I was like surprised, but like I'm more disappointed.
Yeah, and this, like I said, it comes from just everyone holds on so tight to what they love,
Right.
then thinking that anything that goes outside of that norm is wrong, and we've been able to see that as far as like when Jay had pointed out Michael B. Jordan, when the big controversy was when he was going to be a Human Torch. It's like,
Right.
it doesn't matter, and they wound up making it make sense inside the story. But it's like,
Yeah.
even so, everyone goes like, well, that's not what I thought. That's not what I've been told. That's not what I've seen. Everyone's going to fight so hard against it, or not everyone, but a group of people are going to fight so hard against it because you're breaking things up. You're breaking their normal. So.
Yeah, but and it's like it's the Human Torch. He on fire. He orange. Like it's like
Why
Not
didn't
even
they
a
cast an
real
orange person to play him?
thing.
It's like people tripped out on Titans when Starfire. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
it's,
when
it's the same thing, and I'm just like,
Like
yo,
she's an alien, a literal alien,
yeah,
and like the canon of the comic is she's got orange skin. So why are we freaking out about these they're fictional characters?
yeah. People,
They're
people
fictional.
People
We
get
don't
big
even have to
mad
get
over
into Hamilton
fictional
yet, but they're fictional characters.
Well, and like kind of back on the subject of cosplay, like I've dabbled a little bit into cosplay myself, and like I'll talk to friends about, like, oh yeah, so at the next con I want to do this, and they're like, oh yeah, that would be awesome, I want to do this, but I don't have the body type, or that character is a male, or that character's black, or that character's white, whatever it may be, and I just say, you know what? Cosplay who you want to cosplay. Like, it doesn't matter. It should, because it can, if it's just a character that you love, like, why does it matter if you like what you look like? You know what I mean? Because it's somebody that you like, a character that you identify with and that you've, have passion about maybe. And, and besides, nobody in real life actually looks like that. Like some of those big buff superheroes, like we all know that's padding. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, like in my experience, like just cosplay who you want to cosplay and just like have fun with it. And it's okay. And yeah, that sucks. That really sucks with what you went through, Stephan, with that guy following you around. Like, that's not okay. People shouldn't be doing that.
Exactly.
That is not okay. And, even I don't know what I was going to say next, but but again, yeah, it doesn't matter. Just cosplay because you want to cosplay and you want to have fun with it.
Exactly. Yeah. If you want to be a young Superman, who just be a young, like I hate that happened to you, but I'm actually glad that San Diego Comic-Con got bigger, because if he wouldn't have followed you around all day. He would have got tired. Like he would have been like, I'm gonna go stop and look at Rick and Morty trailers and
all age for the next 2 days. All right.
So
I think I think to kind of piggyback both off of what Marley said and also that experience that you had, I think people should be allowed to cosplay whatever they want to cosplay. Yeah. I mean, I don't have big hands and I'm not super tall, but I cosplay Lana Kane because like she's awesome and I look similar to her, But yeah, like I'm not identical to her. I don't have big man hands. I mean, jokingly aside, I typically will only cosplay characters that I look like.
Yep.
Not only because I enjoy those characters and I love that I feel like I am represented in them and I love to celebrate those characters, but because I am very much aware that if I were to show up dressed like Sailor Moon, I love Sailor Moon, but I know I might get the same harassment and I might get somebody who's telling me I'm wrong and I might get threats because I don't look like this animated character.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it's totally fine, even if you don't fit the body type, if you don't, your skin color doesn't match the character. I think it's totally fine to dress up, to cosplay, to play costumes of a character that you love. The only stipulation is if you are not a certain race, please do not change your race to play that character. Like if you want to dress up, if you're a white chick and you got blonde hair, blue eyes, and you want to dress up like Storm, okay. Don't change your body color. Don't put on bronzer and don't put on blackface.
Yep.
And then make the argument, well, I just wanted to be true to the. Shut up.
Nope.
Stop. Just stop. Don't blackface.
Yeah, that's
Honor the character, put on the wig, do the hair, put on the costume, do the contacts. Awesome. Totally do that. You don't we know who you are. We will know who you are.
exactly.
And even if we don't, then you get the opportunity to tell somebody about this awesome character you're dressed as.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it
Don't
because
change
you
your
will have a
color.
bad day on the internet. Now it is June. It is
Yes.
June as we record this, but like no joke, it's like I usually make this post almost annually, right around Halloween, and it's like, hey, here's your friendly reminder this year. Don't do that. And then the typical response is, well, Jay, what about white chicks? What about Robert Downey Jr. and Tropic Thunder? Listen, I don't have an argument for that. There is an argument for that. I don't have time for that.
But I don't have time.
Just don't do it. See, and that's another thing. Which kind of I'll just say it right. Hey, folks. Hey, allies. Just so you know, it is not a person of color's job. It's not black people's job to sit down and educate you and teach you about racism, because we got other stuff to do, because we are dealing with racism. We're just trying to process the trauma from that. Not saying we're victims. We're the victors in the situation, but we don't have time to educate all the time. So we appreciate people showing up to the party, but like, I keep a Google Doc full of just links like, hey, I'd love to talk to you more about this, but read these things. Come back to me later. Let's have a drink and let's talk about it. Cool.
Can you tell that to my DMs and email inbox, please?
Yes.
Deep.
It'll save you so much time. And man, let me tell y'all, like, people try to make something out of nothing. I got it. Like, can I tell y'all a story? Like, because I was looking at some of the questions that you were kind of prepping us for, and
yeah,
I'm gonna switch gears right quick. Let's talk about the movie Black Panther. We're allowed. It's a great movie, no matter what you look like. For people, for the average viewer, it's just a great movie. Now, for black people that are connected and more in tune with African culture, African American culture, and how African Americans and Africans treat each other, you could teach an entire college course on the movie Black Panther. Now, in no means are black people being proud of that movie trying to start a race war. I'm saying this because a person that I won't name, who I'm no longer like Facebook friends with, came into my DMs right before Black Panther was coming out, and all I was saying was, I'm so happy to see some diversity and representation in Marvel Cinema. It's dope to see a superhero that looks like me, because I remember as a kid I had the Wolverine mask, but I had the peach skin, and I looked all the way stupid because I'm tall, Wolverine is short, he's Canadian, I'm American, I'm dark, he's like sort of a kind of a peach khaki situation. So but let people be proud of things. Let people have things. You know what I mean? It's just like this. That was a big movie for us, but in no way was I trying to start a race war. And I'll send the comments through the chat, because y'all got to read this. It's pretty wild. But let people be proud of things. That's all I want to say.
No, I'm glad that you said that. I loved Black Panther, and one of the reasons I loved it is because I saw it a couple times in theaters. That's the equivalent of me like, I would vote for Obama twice if I could. but I did go see Black Panther a lot because I loved that movie. But there was a couple of times where these little boys came out who were black and were just beaming. We're so excited because those guys on that screen kicking ass, they look like them.
Mm-hmm.
Representation is huge. I loved Black Panther, and it's totally cool that they didn't look like me. And I think that's fine. It's frustrating that, I mean, Jay, you said it, but people think it's like you're picking sides. You're not.
Yeah, it's just like, dude, I'm just like, I'm all about Captain America all day. You know, that's my, you know, that's my guy. I mean, Chris Evans. Oh my God, have you seen his blue eyes? Oh my God, beautiful.
I can't stop looking at him.
Right. Right. You know, just that's America's ass right there. I mean, it's just
It is.
yeah, but it's just like. It blew my mind, and I had to sit there and educate this person on why like diversity and representation matters. And it's like crazy. I mean, like, I remember when I saw Wonder Woman. I remember when I saw Captain Marvel. I love those movies, and to see young women walking out of that movie just like, bah, I want to fly through a spaceship and melt it and like save the battle in like 3 minutes and then go off and do other stuff because I'm young, independent, and I got things to do. Bye.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, she came in and this ended everything in like 3 minutes and then went off to go do a hair appointment. Good for her.
I'm still waiting for that Marvel one shot.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel goes to the barber shop. It's gonna be so good, man. It's gonna be good. What I think happened is I think there was miscommunication with her hairstylist on what she wanted, but then she got it and she's like, I can rock this.
Yeah,
she did.
No, she could rock anything.
Yeah, she can. You're totally right, dude. Like seeing the empowerment that girls got, seeing those movies and being represented like that. I really liked in Endgame the big A-Force moment, right, where all the line up and they take it, the Infinity Gauntlet, and it was awesome. But so many people were like, why did they have to make it political? I'm like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. Men do this in every single movie. How many times
is nothing but that, and nobody's like, this is so political.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't get how people can get so offended by things becoming PC or politically correct. I'm like, that is something that just doesn't. Like, I know I'm really smart, but at the same time, I'm like, that makes me feel so stupid because I don't understand how you don't understand political correctness. Like, I don't get it. I don't. But regardless, it's kind of that moment and how people were freaking out about it, and how so many of these toxic white guys, stereotypically,
call it as it is,
were so upset about that moment. And it reminded me of an interview that RBG Ruth Bader Ginsburg had about somebody asked, when will you be satisfied with the amount of, like, how many women on the Supreme Court will be enough for you? And she said 9. And they were like, oh, like almost clutching your pearls. Oh, how dare you say 9 women? That's unthinkable. 9 women on the Supreme Court? And she was like, bitch, like, there's been nine white dudes for how long? Like, it's always 9 white guys.
Yep.
Right now we have a bit of diversity, but I mean, she's right. Like, no one ever questioned, hey, why is there's 9 seats? Why are they all white dudes? Nobody ever was like, this is probably not fair. This might be a little biased. Maybe we should change it up a little bit. It's the same thing. Like, it's the exact same thing.
You're right. It is the exact same thing. I appreciate what you guys are saying. And I'm gonna throw a question over the plate for you guys, if that's okay.
Cool.
how do you want to be treated in the geek community?
Like a white cis dude.
Nah, I'm good because they get mad yelled at these days, and I'm good with that. So,
okay, I mean that's fair.
Malinda,
Like,
you're killing me. No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm in Utah. For listeners who may not know, not exactly the melting pot of diversity here, as all of you can attest to. But I never saw. I don't know when I met Jay, when I met Malinda, all I had was utmost respect for y'all. And Stephan, this is actually the first time we're talking here. But no, we met. We did a Spider-Man panel. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We go way back. Me and Stephan used to date. Okay. I didn't want to bring it up. He didn't bring it up, but here we are.
okay, fine. All right, you're done.
We used strictly Japanese in the sheets, just to let everyone know.
Right on.
Anime mouth sounds, baby.
No judgment.
But
I respect that journey.
Yeah, no, it was a journey. It was a long
Stop it.
journey. I just saw you guys as, I mean, call me a radical, but I just saw you guys as people.
All right. Well, go ahead, Stephan. Go
Like
ahead, 'cause
like when you say like how do I want to be treated, the first thing that comes to my mind is like I just don't want to be an anomaly.
Yeah.
I've been an anomaly since forever, how long I can remember. Like I grew up surfing, and at the same time like being into scuba diving, springboard diving, and all that, and not so much into like I played football, but that was only because it was expected, So when I think of what I want to be in the geek community, it's literally that. I don't want to be the black guy in the black community or in the geek community. I just want to be a guy or a person in the in the geek community. And when it comes up as far as like, let's say, whatever cons that we go to, and whatnot, when I'm on a panel, I just want to be on the panel, not okay, we need to go and round out this panel diversity wise, so we know that can fill the black guy role, who's the token that we can get. That's what I'm yearning for. And it's not a basis as far as what you think, because a lot of people are always going to say like, well, I don't see color, and I don't know, it's like, no, just go ahead.
You do.
You
better, because them green people, they messing it up for everybody. Drax the Destroyer, Hulk, just I know damn well they see color.
It's an important thing to bring that up. Green people.
Green people.
That's a whole nother podcast.
They've been through enough. On the radiation,
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it's like just that whole fact of like not being the anomaly, not being the one person to show up and everyone goes, "Oh, I'm glad you're here." It's like,
oh, I hate that. God, I felt that like, oh, yeah. That honestly, he said it right there. That's what it is. It's what I'm so glad you're here. That like you just created like this checklist. Like there's some guys like, and our black person has arrived. Okay, and then we're all set.
We lost Malinda.
I know it's probably just video. She's still here.
Melinda, you there?
No, I'm still here.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry.
Melinda, I'm glad you're here.
Oh my God.
He did it.
What? I thought.
Wait, was that right?
Was that? I didn't interrupt. Let's take it from the top.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Sorry, it was right there. I'm sorry.
That was.
That was. I've
Good
never have
timing.
I sounded more white or more cisgendered right there. I am sorry. I love talking to you guys and learning, and I know that it's not your job to educate white people, but at the same time, I am grateful for you guys sharing your experiences with us, with our listeners, because it's important. Black stories are important. They need to be told. They need to be heard. When a lot of streaming services are putting Black stories up for free right now, and so my wife and I have been watching a lot of them. And
It's funny and it's good. Like we have, like I'm sorry, but it's just like
no, go.
our history is not just, it's not just pain and suffering. We laugh, we cry.
Yeah.
You will watch some of the movies that I grew up with, like Hollywood Shuffle, directed by Robert Townsend, which is a great movie that talks about what it was like being black in Hollywood. And it's a great movie, and it still holds up. Sadly enough, a lot of people, when they think black superheroes, they think about Blade or Black Panther. Put some respect on Robert Townsend's Meteor Man, which was a great.
Oh,
I
Mhm.
mean, Juice.
Blank Man.
Yeah, I mean, blank man. I mean, like, but there's so many great movies that we have that are a part of our culture. That if you brought these movies up, you're like, oh wow, you watched that, and like that, and that's the cool part is like, is when we get to see each other's stories being told and we can watch them. I mean, like honestly, like I'm glad that it's not just yeah, of course, and like right now, black stories are being told more often, but I do love the fact that I get to see everyone's culture being highlighted right now. I mean,
Mhm.
like the next
Yeah.
wave, really quickly going back into Marvel for a second, but what phase 4 or 5 is, Shang-Chi, we're getting that. So
Mhm.
that's gonna be dope. That's gonna be a dope time, for Asian culture. And I mean, like it
Yeah.
is just, I think it's, and people are so scared of diversity, but it's like that's what makes Star Trek so dang good.
Yeah.
Seriously,
I mean?
But that's honestly, that's like what makes life interesting and enjoyable. If all
Mhm.
you're eating is like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the blandest thing.
white bread.
Food in Utah County.
Okay. Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
got
exactly.
it.
To me.
I mean, like if your diet only consists of white bread, like eventually you're gonna get tired. It's boring. It's just like add some, color, like add some like flavor text to it.
Dirty.
A little bit of peanut butter goes a long way. You throw in
Right.
some Nutella, jelly. I mean, then you're like, then that's a freaking sandwich. We're not even talking about the adding turkey or cheese or lettuce or anything to that white bread. But when you start,
You putting you mixing
no,
Nutella with
not
turkey.
mixing those. No,
Yeah.
not mixing those. I'm just saying, like,
I
you
was
take
gonna
it in a
say,
sandwich.
I was like, whoa, cookout
No,
chopped.
no. On a different day, then you're doing the turkey sandwich, and then on a different day, you're doing a grilled cheese sandwich. And then on a different day, that adds a lot to your. I mean, like you're not getting bored. It's enjoyable. It makes enjoying something as simple as just eating because you need sustenance enjoyable. I mean, like we've had hundreds of years of largely a white narrative. And it's kind of boring. It's like, well, we've already done all those stories. And I mean, people freaked out about the success of, Crazy Rich Asians came out last year,
It was dope. It was a
or
great
the year
movie.
before. And that movie
Okay.
was great. I mean, honestly, like if you break it down, it's not any better than any other rom-com. That's all it is. It's literally a rom-com. It fits all of the same notes and tropes and stereotypes that a rom-com does. The only big difference is that the people on that screen didn't look like at least anybody here. They were all East Asian. They were all Asian American. They were all Asian people. The story wasn't anything special. It's just that it happened to represent people that have been underrepresented in film. I mean, there's been so many Black movies that are rom-coms that literally fit all the same buttons, that check all the same boxes that every other white rom-com does.
The Wood, Best Man, all those. Gotta watch.
Yeah, they're not radical ideas. It's not this whole race war. It's just, yeah, well, we've already done that, and we know that rom-coms work. Everyone goes to see a rom-com, or at least the guy is usually dragged to the rom-com. They make money. That's why we keep making those movies.
Yeah.
They're not new stories. They're just new in that who is being represented. And it's
people
totally
people act like, they're like, what? Black people and brown people doing rom-coms. Like, yeah, we have bad breakups and drink mimosas too. Like it is a thing.
Drink mimosas.
We complain about it at brunch later. I mean, there's going back to what you said, Zach, like there are so many of our stories that people need to watch. I mean, Five Bloods, Spike Lee movie just came out. That is very, for the record, very heavy. Just celebrate those stories, because I mean, you can learn so much. And gain respect. You said Life earlier, Malinda, and it made me think of Life, Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence. Great movie.
That's a good one.
Like, when people think of that movie, they think Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, two big names, heavy hitters. But if you go down the cast, it is chock full of Black comedians that were like unstoppable in the 90s and early 2000s. So I mean, Bernie Mac up in it, and so it's celebrate. We want y'all to laugh with us, because we want y'all to, like, and I'm not just saying white people, I'm just saying everybody. And I don't speak for all races, but I mean, like, I imagine that when we want y'all to see our stories, because when you laugh with us at the things that we laugh about and that make us laugh, it feels like we're all laughing together. I know that sounds like, a Kendrick Lamar song for the summer, more of a Chance the Rapper kind of thing, but it's just like, we just want to be seen. We just want to be heard. We want to be felt. You feel me?
Yeah,
absolutely,
definitely.
Please say you feel me.
I feel you.
I don't like the way you said that.
I feel you.
Let's stop it. No.
Jay, listen, I'm glad. I feel you. Did I do that right?
I'm with it. All right.
No, man.
I asked for this, so
you did.
my fault, man.
I'd be ecstatic if I could say that the only problems we're seeing right now are the lack of understanding in the geek community, but it is not. There is a lot of racism and police brutality in your everyday lives, and that is, I'll never know what that's like because of how I look, and I'll never understand it, but it's very disheartening to see that there's such a lack of understanding, and there's such a
lack of understanding is what is almost infuriating sometimes, and it's okay. Let me correct myself. It's not just the lack of understanding, but the inability to even try to understand. And I'm gonna quote Brené Brown: "In order to empathize with someone's experience, you must be willing to believe them as they see it, and not how you imagine their experience to be." This isn't just applicable to, Black Lives Matter. This is applicable to women's rights, LGBTQI plus rights. I mean, like, transgender people. This is like, we all need to listen to their stories. We all need to, like, believe them as they see it, because I have no idea what an indigenous transgender person has gone through. I have no idea. So I listen I try to keep an open mind and just listen, because I don't have their experience. And so when I get into conversations with people, oh my God, I had a conversation with a person who I won't mention. on Father's Day, and I was trying to explain to them, you know, they randomly brought it up on my Father's Day / Juneteenth weekend celebration. I'm like litty for the city, and I'm having a good time, and they decided to bring up All Lives Matter, which is a very you know, we don't have enough time to get into it, but you know,
Hmm.
I just said, of course, all lives matter. We all know this. You know, Black lives do matter as well, and these are the reasons why. And she countered with, "Well, racism is over," and I quote, "You blacks have Oprah and rich football players now."
Congratulations.
I had no words. I had no words. I had no words.
That's so messed up.
And each time I tried to counter, like, you know, and one, I'm so grateful I kept my cool, but I think it was the hardest part was, you know, try not to just lash out and, you know, be angry, but like really keep my composure, come with the facts. But it was
Hmm.
the fact that she just really wasn't trying to hear what anything I had to say. I could let you
Hmm.
know, and you know, I get people that will try to sneak up in my DMs and, you know, send me a random Candace Owens video. That happened this morning
Oh,
actually, and she was like, "Oh, okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wait. Oh my god. You sent me a Candace Owens video at 4 in the morning. Oh. Thank you so much, lady from Klamath Falls, Oregon, that has never like lived a day in the life in my skin, that didn't grow up in Los Angeles and Orange County, wasn't beaten by neo-Nazis and, you know, seen harassment from police. You've never, and you want to send a Candace Owens video with no context? Oh my god. Like, who are these people? You know what I mean? I'm sorry, like I'm venting, but
hmm.
it's
No, man,
just like
this is the outlet for that.
these are the things that people need to stop doing. Stop trying to tell us how to feel. Stop trying to, you
Hmm.
can't tell me how to grieve George Floyd. You can't tell me how to grieve a Trayvon Martin. You can't tell me, you can't go down the list of what and try to victim blame and tell me that these people, you know, oh, they were criminals or they had it coming. No, the reality of it is we're trying to process this trauma that doesn't affect them. It doesn't affect their everyday life, but it affects mine. When I leave the house to go jogging, I kiss my fiance and I tell her, "I love you. I'll be right back." Like that's a conversation that's we shouldn't even have to think about. You know, and I
Right.
pose a simple question to you, anybody. Like, what are three things that you would take if you're going for a quick jog? What are three things you won't leave the house without?
I won't ever leave the house um, without my phone fully charged.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have apps on there that, as a woman, I will use if I'm ever in danger. But I have apps that will not just notify the police, but will actively notify people who I know and love of my exact location, that will record whatever is happening, because I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. If I'm attacked on the street by some person, it's a calculated risk for me to call the police. I'm almost safer to call a friend than I am a police officer because of how I look. I don't know that a police officer is going to show up and think that's the person who needs help.
Mm-hmm.
They might see me as an aggressor. And yeah, I do have a lot of privilege being a light-skinned Black woman. I have a lot of privilege being a woman of the Black community, not just being a Black man of the Black community. I absolutely recognize that. We don't need to get into colorism, but it's
That's
still
another story.
it's it's still a risk I take walking out the door. It's not just okay, wallets, keys, and I don't know what else you're gonna take.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, wallet and keys, that's something important. But I often think, um, should I take my taser? Should I take my mace? I don't want to. Also, if I take my taser, if I take my mace, and something happens in which I need to use my taser and my mace, how much more of a risk does that put my life? am I,
That part.
I mean, in order to protect myself, am I essentially dooming myself? And I should not need, not just because I'm a person of color or a woman, I shouldn't need an app to feel comfortable to go to the grocery store. I shouldn't need to think about, okay, yeah, I really, really want that chocolate bar right now at 2:00 in the morning. But like,
Yeah.
I'd rather be alive. I don't want to be killed for buying a pack of Skittles. You know, I don't want to think hoodies are so freaking comfortable, but I don't want to have to second guess, hey, should I wear this hoodie in this predominantly white neighborhood that I happen to live in? Because I can afford to live here. Because I fortunately am not affected by redlining, but I understand that it's still a freaking thing. That,
Please
yes,
look up
technically-
redlining if you don't know what that is.
If you don't know what that is, yes.
Podcast right now.
But if, despite the fact that redlining doesn't exist any longer, it does. It's a perpetual cycle. And even though, yeah, I can afford to live in this neighborhood that happens to be predominantly Caucasian, I don't want that to be put into question. Like, why are you here?
Right.
What right do you have to be here? And it's like, I don't want to keep saying it's not fair, because then people are like, well, life's not fair. No shit, Sherlock, life isn't fair. But one of those things that isn't fair shouldn't be, it's not fair for me to just exist. I have a running list of things that I am so very much aware of that I have to constantly think about, being a black face in a white place. And that list just keeps growing, you know? I never, like, I mean, like you guys, I was cosplaying before cosplay was a thing. You know, I made all of my Halloween costumes. Dressing up was like one of the games I played as a kid. I've always loved that. And when Darian Hunt was murdered while cosplaying by the police, you know, every single black person, every single every single person of color, and every single LGBTQ person, you know, or don't, can name one person who has been killed by the police and go, that could have been me. And Darian Hunt is that person for me, because I cosplay. And I could be walking down the street in a costume, and someone who doesn't know, a cop who doesn't know that I'm in costume, or some person who calls the cops because they're afraid of how I happen to look. I might lose my life for doing something I am passionate about and that I love. And when he was killed, I made a promise to myself that I will never cosplay a character who wields a weapon, because it's too much of a risk. And that's not fair. I should be able to cosplay Lana Kane and wear her gun hilts. I should be able to do that, because that's a character that I happen to look like. But I won't. I will not wear the shoulder straps while cosplaying that character, because I don't know who has and hasn't seen Archer.
Yep. Same.
And
it's part of everyone asked me why I won't cosplay. Like I did Falcon, and I did Deadpool a couple times, and it's part of the reason why I kind of won't do it anymore. Or if I do a character, it's gonna be like Spider-Man, or someone with no weapon showing, because it's. But basically, going back, my point was just basically I don't leave the house without my camera phone fully charged and 2 forms of ID. Seriously, my wallet, my keys is not even important. Like seriously, like I will leave, like I can, but 2 forms of ID because I've been stopped and be like, "Who are you? Why are you in this neighborhood?" And like, dude, I live right up the street. I know I run slow and I'm bad at cardio. It took me 30 minutes to get here, but I live up the street. Back off. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate. You know, it's unfortunate because and this isn't just okay. If you're listening to this and you're just like, well, I'm doing my part. You know, all I'm listening to right now is black people complain and it's annoying. And I don't want to hear it. We don't want to feel it. So if this makes you uncomfortable, like honestly, I really don't care because it's like our discomfort allows. I'm looking for the words here, but our discomfort is has been a part of America's comfort for so long. You know, everyone's waiting for all of this to go back to normal. I keep seeing that, and that is driving me up the wall because I'm like, your normal was it put many of us in danger. And I'm not saying that you have to, you know, it- I'm not saying burn everything to the ground, and I'm not saying any violence, or I'm not that type of person to say that type of podcast. You know, some people may have different opinions. That's not me. All I want is just equality. You know what I mean? There's a great video that people need to watch. It's from Kimberly Jones. It's Kimberly Jones. It's a 6 minute. It's like 6 minutes and 40 seconds. If you ever get the video, and please, I'll send it to you, Zach. Post
Please
it with
do.
this episode because it will really help people understand just exactly. She sums it up so well in 6 minutes and 40 seconds of what it feels like and kind of what we're thinking. It's an excellent study on the black psyche, the black American psyche, and it's. I wish I had all the answers. I wish I could change this overnight. I wish Melinda, you didn't have
Mhm.
to feel those things. You know, I wish we weren't having this conversation. I wish it was just the 5 of us, you know, celebrating like, yo, Zach, you know, are they finally gonna release the Snyder cut? You know what I mean? Like, is it like I wish we were talking about that, but you know, people people don't really understand, and it's like, and it blows my mind when I find out it's geeks that really don't. Well, I'm not saying not all geeks, but when it's the geeks that really don't understand, because I'm like, wait, you mean to tell me you watched a movie about some teenage rebels overcoming fascism and blowing up like a huge Death Star? Wait, you mean to tell me you watched a movie or grew up with a show that basically had you know, Malcolm X with magnetism and, you know, Martin Luther King Jr. in a wheelchair, uh, and we're fighting for civil rights. I mean, wait, you mean to tell me you watched a show about being super inclusive and exploring the galaxy and just trying to de-escalate situations, you know? And the only people that really die were people with red shirts. What? Come on now. Like y'all missed a lot of memos. And I can go on and on. You know, Deadpool, he's very queer, very pansexual. Like it's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
obvious if you're not paying attention. And it's just like when people say the things that they say, and I'm like, what? Why? I don't understand. And so people missed a lot of memos, and I wish they will educate themselves and watch these things over again. Read history. And history is important. Go ahead,
But,
Stephen.
but
We've been talking a long time. I'm sorry, bro.
Bef- I'll try to be super quick with this, but as soon as you literally just said history, Jay, it reminded me of something that I was quite literally talking to my wife about. Who my wife? So I'm married, and I'm married to a white woman. Um, we were talking about this, and she's been trying to understand everything because she's seen what I've dealt with and whatnot. And I'm not going to get into it, but like within the last 4 weeks, I've had the cops called on me 3 different times for things that never should. Like there have been no arrests, no convictions, no nothing. It was all preconceived notion type
Yup.
thing, and it's all while I've been driving for a rideshare company. So it's something where when she didn't quite understand of like, why is all this stuff happening? I thought we were all over this. I thought this was a part of past history. I said, what you consider American history that has passed is what I'm still feeling right now.
Mhm.
It's like, yes, all of that stuff, like there have been things that have happened 100, 200 years ago. Guess what? I still dealt with that yesterday and you saw it, you know? So that's why a lot of these conversations, why like we're tired and we're frustrated and we're angry, and yet everyone is, why are you guys so mad? It's like, because this hasn't changed,
Right.
you know.
And
And even like even to pose another thing real quick, Jay, when you're saying like what 3 things do you carry, you know, you all hit my 3 things. It's a fully charged phone, it's I do have a taser that, you know, that I do have, and it is my ID. But one thing that I want to pose to you guys, and I'm gonna give you guys 10 seconds to think of your answer before you say it, but when you carry your ID, like if you're gonna go jogging, where do you keep your ID?
I know exactly. Ooh, this is a good question.
Mhm.
Because I don't keep it in my wallet.
I don't keep it in my. I don't keep it
Go
in my.
ahead, Melinda. Go ahead, Melinda.
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't keep it there. I so whenever I get into my car, because look, I don't run, and if you ever see me running, you should probably run too. I mean, I drive, and I move my IDs from my wallet to like the dashboard, or to any place that's very accessible and very obvious in case I get pulled over. I am a certified massage therapist, which means that if I do an out call, I'm very good. So it might be to a very wealthy neighborhood. I live in Los Angeles, so it might be Beverly Hills. I mean, I have yet to, but I will not be surprised when I get called or pulled over because I don't look like I belong there. But I mean, I've got my table. I've got all of my supplies very clearly visible. I carry everything that I'm going to need to make, and I'm usually in my uniform. But I have my ID very visible. It's never in my glove box. Never in my glove box. Sometimes that might just be even on my lap. But it's very, very visible so that I can move as little as possible and minimize myself as a threat as much as possible.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's been times when I've considered, even if I'm not doing an out call, just throwing my table in the back of my car, putting on that uniform, because if I got pulled over, it's safer to be like, yeah, I'm a massage therapist. I literally just came from thing. Here's all my Ds. You look stressed. Here's my card. You want a massage? No.
I've been in the military for
nobody
a long
carries,
time, and
no black person carries it in their wallet when they go for a run.
Oh yeah, no, you don't do that.
Because the second we reach for that, oh, she's got a gun. Oh, he's got a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I keep it in my hat. I keep my ID in my hat or in the back of the case of my phone. So I'm, and I usually jog with my phone. But usually if if in instances where I've been stopped and I've had to put my hands up, I'm like, my ID is in my hat. I'm going to take off my hat, blah, blah, blah. And I announce which hand I'm doing it. This is crazy. And so, I mean, now some people that may be listening to this, maybe thinking this is super extra and maybe unnecessary, but the problem is there is a preconceived notion. And yes, unfortunately, uh, you know, we are consumed we consume media that reinforces that fear. And some people, they just might say, and some people get the luxury to just turn off the news, and oh, I'm going to take a social media break, and I'm going to abstain from all of this. Well, that's great, and then that's cool that you can do that. Like for me personally, it's hard for me to turn the news off sometimes because it's there for, it is in a way, yes, it's stoking fear, but it's also informing me of the dangers out there. When you see that these people are murdered in the streets for no reason, jogging, you know, reaching into his glove compartment to show that Philando Castile, he was showing him he had a permit for his firearm, and he didn't even pull for his gun. Sean Bell, who got clapped on his wedding day. I mean, the list goes on, and so it's just that. So that's why I get so mad when I see people that are like, "Yo, I want this to go back to normal." I'm like, "This doesn't even affect you in the slightest way." This, you know, I've been stopped by the cops. I've had guns drawn on me, what, roughly 15 times. I
Yep.
mean, the first time I had a gun pulled on me, I was 12. From a cop, 12. And it's not right. The most recent time had a gun pulled on me was I was 35 in
Sorry,
Flagstaff,
my
Arizona.
audio went out.
Oh, you're all good. You're all good. But I'm just sitting there telling depressing stories of police brutality. It's fine. I'm joking. All right, breaking. There's an ease in the tension, but it's just I am. We want there to be change, and I mean, you would think that in the geek community, and I'm not saying this is ruined. Like I'm trying to keep it geek friendly and stay on topic, but the geek community gives me hope because when it's toxic, it is toxic. But when it's gelling, man, honestly, like it's so dope. Like I love being a part of Geek Show because it is it is yes, I am the token black guy on the show, but and for a long time I thought I was, but they always just saw me as, you know, just a friend. And in Geek Show, we really do believe that, you accept everybody for what it is because we all grew up on Star Trek. We get excited when we learn about everyone's culture, and don't be rude, respect each other. And so, Star Trek was always inclusive. And so, you know, geeks give me hope because they understand it, they get it. They know what it's like to be ignored. They know what it's like to walk through life almost feeling invisible. And these stories of uniting to overcome something greater than we can even possibly understand, a greater threat. So I mean, it's, yeah, a call for unity, understanding, um, is very important. And the sooner we get on that, you know the sooner we can get this Zack Snyder cut. I'm just so
Is that what, is that what we're waiting for? That's Jay's mic
sorry,
drop.
I'm
That's
sorry.
it.
I can't.
It's humbling to hear your guys' stories, and I really appreciate you sharing them. And it does make me angry. And if you are listening to this and you are white like me and it's making you angry, good. Then there is something you can do about it. There are places you can donate. There are stories you need to listen to. There are friends you need to make, and there are protests you need to attend, because this is I have been one of those people who said I just want life to go back to normal, but not if it means that brothers and sisters and people I love are getting shot down or victimized because of how they look.
Yeah, we just want equality. I don't speak.
Yeah.
I don't want revenge. I don't. There's no time for that. Batman taught me better. You know what I mean? But I mean, for real though. But for real, like I remember. No, honestly, I'm a lot older now. But I remember when I first heard about slavery as a kid and what was done. When I read about Tulsa, when I read about the Tuskegee experiment, when I read about the
Mhm.
internment camps, and I was just like, this is horrible. This is egregious what we do to people, what this country's done to people. And I'm like, we should, blah blah blah. And then you read about Nat Turner and what they did to Nat Turner after read about Nat Turner. Like, I'll quick. He was a slave that uh basically killed his masters, and when they finally caught him, they burned him. Uh, they basically went Lord Bolton on him, the Dreadfort, and they peeled his skin off. They sold it. They would drink his wine, or they drink his blood as wine. I mean, it was horrible things. So and from that day forward, after they killed Nat Turner, that's when they started ensuring that slaves couldn't read, because they just didn't, because they realized an educated black man was a larger threat to them. And so it's just like there's so many things that people don't know about. Read about Juneteenth and why it's important that we celebrate it. And so just I'll never forget, I did a show in Montana last year. I'm coming home, had my Wakanda, like a Black Panther shirt on. I see this guy smoking a cigarette. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I had a good time. Blah blah blah. Boom, boom. You know what I mean? And he's smoking a cigarette. He sees my Wakanda Black Panther shirt, and he goes, "Black Lives Matter." And I'm like, it's 2 in the morning. I can't really see this guy. He's got long hair. I'm like, I don't know what, like I'm just kind of like on edge. But and then as I get a little bit closer, I can see the guy lifts up his hair. He's got long straight hair, and he says it again, and he's like really serious. He's like, "Yo, Black Lives Matter." And I look at him. It's a Native American person. He's a Native American man,
Mm.
and he's telling me, he's like, your movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, the LGBTQIA plus movement is so important right now, because if they listen to what y'all are saying, maybe they'll listen to us,
Listen. Mhm.
and hopefully we can level the playing field. It's not no one wants revenge. They just want people to have equality. And he said to me,
Yeah.
he says, it's wrong that they stole our homeland from us, and it was wrong that you were stolen from your homeland. And I was like, I had nothing. I had nothing. Try going to sleep after that conversation. You can't. And so what people just want is just equality. I'm not. We just want that. And
Mhm.
if it's representation in our movies, you can. That's all we're asking for. You know, and treat people nicer, man. God, I'm sorry. Like I'm getting wrapped up and. Whew, mm. I just wish there was a better way for people to see that this isn't just a sprint. This is a marathon.
Mhm.
It starts with an idea, and it has to continue. It can't just like, oh, this can't be just a phase. You have to support it, in order to end racism, in order to end sexism, in order to end home homophobia. You have to call people out. You have to
Mhm.
call people out. If you see it, stop it. I was very immature in my days, and since then I've grown, and learning to listen to people from all different sides, and I love it. I'm telling you, it's like gumbo. It's like gumbo is awesome because it's got a little bit of everything in it, you know. And let's just make gumbo. Let's just make gumbo.
I'm not hungry.
Um, Jay, Stephan, Melinda, thank you so much
Yeah.
for sharing everything you did today. This gets raw, this gets hard, but like I said before, if you're listening and this makes you angry, then go do something about it. The best way to combat anger is and hate is with action and love. So find out what you can do and do it, because this isn't Black Lives Matter isn't a fad. It's not a phase. It's important.
Mhm.
So just like Jay said, we got to make some gumbo.
And educate yourself on some damn gumbo. It's delicious.
Gumbo's good, man. Gumbo's some soul food. I love
Oh,
gumbo.
oh my God. But just no, really, just it starts with education. We gotta, until we're honest with our history, with American
Mhm.
history, and what happened, what really happened. Then people will
Mhm.
understand, and they'll really, when I tell them racism still exists, they'll really understand because they're educated. So educate. And if you've never been to a protest or a peaceful protest or a rally because you're afraid of what, no, just go there, keep an open mind, listen, shut up, don't talk, listen, listen. That's all I'm all right. I promise you I'm done. I yield my time. Whatever. I love y'all. I'm sorry.
No, you're great, Jay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, guys. One of the things we talked about, though, is that it is important to listen to Black creators. So, Jay, tell the folks at home where they can find you.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter and it's Twitter, on Instagram at my Twitter handles. It's Jay Whittaker, ITSJAY WHITTAKER. You can also follow me on the hashtag Full Feather Friday and check me out, jaywhitaker.com. And just peace and love, y'all. I really hope y'all like. Honestly, it's great to talk to y'all, and it's great to see your smiling faces. I miss all, just all love. I'm gonna cry.
Malinda, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram, just my name, Malinda, MALINDA.money, as well as Twitter at Malinda Money.
Stephan, where you at?
You can find me basically on every social media platform as that backflip guy. And then as far as voices go, a couple of different games, some that haven't really come out yet. So if you hear someone sitting there talking like this and whatnot, yeah, odds are that might actually be me. There's a couple of, I'm waiting to make a few announcements. So yeah.
Dude, I'm excited to hear them.
Yeah.
Look out for that.
That's going to be sweet. All right, guys, nothing but love to all y'all. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
You guys are all great.
Appreciate it.
Well, I'm going to say it.
Uh-oh.
Thank you for coming.
I see you. I'm going to punch you. I love it.
Do it. Cut it right there, Marley. That's perfect.
Here's also the Stolen Droids social media as well. I found this little overlay. So anyways, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.